Welcome to another episode of Into the Pod, the show where I review different pieces of media, what they meant to me, and how they've added flavor to the stew of my life. Today we're talking about the latest Marvel movie, Thunderbolts. As always, I'll start with the good, then the bad, and finish off with the themes and details that resonated with me. Beware, there will be spoilers ahead. So let's start off with the good. In a short phrase, what I would have to say is, we are so back. For the longest time, Marvel movies just haven't been appealing to me, and to be honest, this one didn't appeal to me either. But I ended up going to watch Thunderbolts because of how much praise it was getting, and for good reason. One of the greatest parts about the movie is it shifts its focus from a crazy superhero movie to a more character-focused and driven storyline. And with the character-driven storylines, we have amazing actors and actresses playing really well-rounded and in-depth characters. First off, Florence Pugh was the highlight of the movie and the main character, to be honest. And all the other characters had such great witty banter with one another and had great chemistry. They were all really fed up and just really annoyed with all of each other, which kind of reminded me of the old Avengers days. And so it was so nice to see such a wonderful cast being portrayed in such a serious but also light tone that I really appreciated. And it was very reminiscent of the old Marvel movies, where they are character focused and really interested in the characters rather than the giant alien threat. Because at the core of it, the best part about these superhero movies are not the threats that they face, it is the characters and their stories and their responsibility to become better people. But speaking about antagonists, I thought the Void was such a really, really cool villain. I believe the sequences when they enter the Void are so intricate and really well crafted. The cinematography of the movie was actually very good, which I was very surprised to see. And the character of Bob was actually a super likable character. I'm really happy with the direction they chose with that character and the overall feel of the movie. So overall, the performances were great. The small moments where you see these new Avengers saving people, it doesn't have to be the whole world. It could just be the little girl about to be crushed under rubble. That is what really makes these superhero movies shine. And I really appreciated it. And it was such a breath of fresh air that made me excited again for superhero movies, which is a rare thing to do considering the amount of slop that we've been getting over these years. So now that the good is out of the way, let's discuss the bad. Now, the bad part about the movie, my biggest gripe with it, is the dialogue choices. There are so many moments which seemingly feel like they should be serious, and they are played off way too lightly. With the main cast of the new Avengers, I think they actually did a really superb job with all of them. My main gripe comes from the villains, particularly DeFontaine and the assistant. There were many times where I could feel a sense of cringe hearing the assistant's dialogue. For example, when she says, "Do you think there is a chance that they could all team up?" And like, no way. And she's like, "Well, that's what they're doing." And so with that, I understand that they're sort of in a government position, but it really played off as really immature and classic sort of Marvel movie writing, which was a weird juxtaposition from the serious tone of the main characters who had their own sense of humor, but they were mainly serious. So tonally, it felt a little bit off and it kind of cheapened the experience. I couldn't help but just feel like, oh, it's one of these cringy dialogue inserts. And again, tonally, if the movie had been a very different movie, maybe even comedic, it would have worked. But for this one, it just felt a little out of place. And my only other gripe about the movie, which is a small gripe, is that the set designs and locations, everything felt a little gray. Now, I don't think there's anything bad with the tone of everything being sort of gray. I think it fit perfectly for the movie. But again, because it's such a serious movie and there's so much gray in it, the sort of lightheartedness and cringy Marvel humor felt a little out of place. And I really wish that they would have gone a little bit more serious with the movie. Because tonally, I was expecting when the Void was quote unquote killing people, I was hoping that they would have been an actual serious consequence. But everything was okay in the end and everyone was saved, and that was a very nice thing. I was expecting something a little bit more serious, a little bit more dark than what we were presented with. Finally, let's talk about the themes and the details that resonated with me. There are two themes in this movie that really stood out to me. and particularly really spoke to me about these new Avengers. Because when I see these new Avengers, I can only imagine this is the Avengers that is catering to Gen Z. When we have the main character played by Florence Pugh, her desire to work is non-existent. And I see that so much with our generations today, with Gen Z and upcoming Gen Alpha. The sort of mission that we have with work, either working for a company, working for a business, working for anything that is outside of ourselves, the sense of community and purpose is so lacking, which makes so many people feel like, what are they doing with their life? Why are they even working this job? And that was portrayed so perfectly with the main character, with Florence Pugh's acting and emotions when she's going from job to job, essentially killing people and doing bad stuff. She feels no purpose with life. And as I see Gen Z, many Gen Z don't even have children. So they don't find a purpose with their job, they don't find a purpose with their family. Whereas if you contrast it with the older generations, like Red Guardian portrayed in the movie, he did find a sense of purpose in his job because he was trying to provide for his family. Yes, he was absent for a certain amount of time, but to be with his daughter again makes him ecstatic and fully fulfills him with a purpose. But the younger generation doesn't have that. And that is portrayed so well. And I think it's such a Gen Z-centric Avengers that they put out with this new Avengers. Even at the end of the movie when he said, new Avengers with a Z instead of an S, I was like, this is like kind of on the nose with Gen Z. So that really stood out to me. And the other one that really stood out to me is also in relation to the younger generation, Gen Z in particular, is Bob. Because Bob, as a character, wanted to fix his life. He wanted to be better than himself. He wanted to give up his illicit substances. He wanted to be stronger. He wanted to be smarter. He wanted to be the best version of himself. And he wanted to be essentially perfect. And what does he do? He signs up for a military trial that promises that he will become a better and more perfect person. That is not the answer. And I think that's so telling on just how the generations are treating mental illness as well as physical ailments, because as a generation, I think we're turning so much to specific solutions rather than holistic solutions. For example, when we think about depression, a lot of things that people turn to are antidepressants. And I'm not saying antidepressants are bad. I think they are a godsend for so many people. But when it comes to antidepressants, they are not the one solution. To manage depression doesn't mean to just take a pill every day. It means to focus on connecting with your peers, focus on getting proper nutrition, getting proper sleep, taking care of yourself. And if taking care of yourself means popping some antidepressants, that's what you need to do. You need to think of yourself as a whole team, not just a one problem, one solution individual. And I think that's portrayed so well with Bob, because he looks for a one-stop solution for all of his problems. Even when he gets it, he can't help but feel this darkness inside. The darkness that doesn't go away and still remains there to this day, but is just mitigated by the fact that he has friends. He's able to read books in the Avengers Tower. He is enjoying life so much more because he feels this sense of community and he feels a sense of purpose, which a lot of the younger generation is missing. And that's what really spoke to me about this movie. And that's why I really love this movie. For a Marvel movie, I am really in awe of the writing and what it really means in the context of what we are going through today. So with all that in mind, I would happily give Thunderbolts a 9 out of 10. It was a fantastic movie, and I would recommend it for a smaller, more grounded, and more intimate Marvel movie compared to many of the ones we've received in the past. So there you have it. I gave you my thoughts and opinions about what Thunderbolts meant to me, and now I want to hear what you all think about it down in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with my opinions and the general consensus about it? Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Consider dropping a like and subscribing for more. As always, check the links in the description for my main video essay channel and my Patreon to support the channel and recommend media to review next. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.